junior. You teach 6'9". All right, questions?
Darrion, about how much did you play in that game Saturday?
5 snaps. Yes, sir.
How disappointing was that, and kind of what happened?
I believe we got complacent with the little things, and I feel like that's what got us killed, just not being dialed in into every absolutely little detail, and little things become big things in the end, and is what caused us to not pull out a win I think we should have had.
You okay for this week?
Yeah, I think I should.
Seen in the last 48 hours with just this team and kind of, I guess, keeping things together and looking ahead and trying to get this thing on track?
One thing that I think the coaches have done a great job of is finding the issue, and now it's the next step of solving the problem. And I think today at practice we took a nice step in fixing some of those issues.
What are those issues?
Like I mentioned, just little details. We're now, like I said, we were complacent with the little things, and now we're just really keying in on them and making sure that those little things aren't overlooked or ignored again.
As a senior, what does it say about a team when some of the freshman class is speaking out about culture, maybe the way they did after Saturday's game?
It's actually a huge reminder. He's doing something that I feel like all of the seniors should be doing. So to see somebody, younger, trying to keep older guys to a standard, I think that's phenomenal, and it motivates me to do more and say more.
Scott mentioned after the game the thing about you getting after some guys. I guess maybe was it at the team hotel, or I wasn't sure. Kind of just from your vantage point, what happened and what did you need to do there?
I like to say things when I feel like something is needed to be said. For the most part, I'm not going to say I keep to myself, but I try to fix things around me for the most part. If I see something around me, I'll be vocal. But I think at that given situation, I feel like something out loud was needed to be said. Just in the situation before a game, I just thought that we needed to be more focused in that position, and things were said, but I also feel like things were also being ignored. So I wasn't the only one to say something. I was just the one to enforce it to an extent.
Darrion, how did that illustrate itself to you that the focus wasn't where it needed to be?
Like I said, I feel like that situation right there just showed me that we got complacent with little things. It started out pretty strong for the most part at the beginning of the season, and as time went on, one little thing that was ignored became a habit, and then it trickled on to other players, and it became contagious to where a majority of the team was doing it instead. Now the bad thing is the majority instead of the good thing. So it just showed me that as a collective group, we weren't 100% dialed in, and when we're not 100% dialed in, that's where that leaves a lot of room for error, and it showed up on the field.
So when you talk about little things, you're talking about something
Yeah.
at the hotel.
Yeah, like that's flow. Flow is supposed to be us getting our body woken up and something that isn't as serious as the game, but it should be taken serious because it is game day. And like I said, that's one of those things that we took for granted and we let go. And I feel as if things like that, things that are minor like flow, I feel like once we start taking those serious again, we'll get better results.
What did you see? I mean,
Just
people jacking around or what?
The thing was, everybody was doing everything correct. It was I feel like a lot of us was just going through the motions and not fully executing and really taking it serious. I feel like we were just filling the time instead of executing it. And like I said, people were doing it, but I also heard like little chatter and whatnot. And the date of a game, I think everybody should be dialed in. And there's a time and place for everything. And I feel as if during that flow period, we should have been dialed in. And there was a lot of guys who agreed and who said something, but like I said, they were overlooked.
So does flow take place like in a conference room?
Kind of, sort of, in the
Okay.
conference room.
So what are some of the things that you do to get your bodies ready?
Yeah, this is like a warm up for us. So we do like down and backs, high knees, butt kicks, lunges, things of that nature.
Hey, Darrion, I know you only played 5 snaps, but what did you see with the pass rush from your vantage point? Why weren't you guys able to really generate much of a presence in the pocket on the quarterback as far as getting pressure?
It's something that we do in practice. We have very active quarterbacks, and I feel as if the D-line, we anticipated the run too soon. It's kind of obvious we'll work a good pass rush move and get quarterback level and expect him to go ahead and take the ball and run. So we were preparing for the scramble before we even finished our rush, and I think that was the biggest issue that we had.
How encouraging was the performance against the run? And then on the flip side, how discouraging was it to not be able to get off the field one more time when they ran possession?
I've always known that what we're capable of in the run game. Coach Chen's mentioned it to us this morning. Monday and Tuesday practice were phenomenal, which made first and second down, made us minimize the run completely. And then Wednesday practice, we let it get out of hand, and it showed on third down. And third down, when they passed the ball heavy, we couldn't complete it because, like Coach said earlier that week, we wasn't completely dialed in and focused on Wednesday's practice.
Barry, you guys still have stuff out there that you can accomplish this year. The math still isn't out of your favor necessarily. But with I know this is your only year, but for this program to continue to develop after you're gone, how crucial is it for you guys to get to a bowl game?
It's always crucial to get to a bowl game just because nobody wants to play for no reason. I think it's important for our team now to get to a bowl game this year for the fact that we have a lot of young guys. The underclassmen to olderclassmen ratio is kind of lopsided. There's a lot of young guys, which is good for the future. I think as a senior class, what we need to do is end the season on a good note, but on top of that, start next year off to a jump start. So putting us in a bowl game gets us give us more time with the younger guys to help lay a foundation, to help show them the way a team is supposed to operate. And I believe we have a lot of good talent, and I feel like we have a lot of guys who really care about Nebraska football and cares about winning and cares about doing those little things right. We just have to lay the groundwork to let them know that it's okay to not get bored with the little things.
This season as a whole, what's it been about the defense that just maybe has struggled a little bit in the red zone? What hasn't quite clicked at the pace for you guys?
Little things. It's little things that Coach pointed out to us in practice, and little things that he pointed out to us during film. And it's one of those things where you do it once and we're complacent and we think it's taken care of, so we're like kind of putting duct tape over the situation instead of really, feeling the hole. And from this point on, what we have to do is we just have to continue to be on each other about those little details of making a right step and stepping with the right leg instead of stepping with the left, or being in an A gap and not getting bumped out of it, and filling the right hole, or making the right calls and hand signals when we change calls, and communication on all phases of the field. I feel like once we stop getting bored with those little things, everything else, like red zone, third down, I think everything else will get fixed.
Can you think of one possession this season in particular where it's just like, man, you had it, but one little mistake somewhere maybe cost a touchdown or
Almost
something?
every first drive of the second half, we'll come out and it's always failure of little things where it blows up. You turn on film. I've turned on film and watched majority of those drives, and you can see that the calls were there and the players there for the players to make. Is just poor execution, and it gashed us, and it shows. And then the next half, of course, Coach gets on us and reminds us, and that's when we start performing better. But it needs to be on a play-to-play basis instead of, Coach has to get on us to get it out of us.
All head coaches are passionate, obviously, but with Scott, it runs pretty deep with him having played here and everything. How have you seen guys take to his message Saturday, and also whatever he told you guys to start this week? Did you feel like you have a real togetherness going into this week, or?
One thing I think we do really well as a team is we don't stray away from each other. I feel like we have a really good bond, and we really trust Coach Frost a lot. It's frustrating, putting ourselves in these positions and then not being able to get ourselves out of it. And Coach Frost, of course, shares the same frustration as us because he puts, if not more, into it than we do. But going into this week, we just have to, like I said, try to continue to encourage the good things instead of focusing too much on the negative, and make sure that those little details that we haven't maximized, and to make sure that we're always doing everything right instead of, being complacent. It's a long season. We've been at it since fall camp. We had a bye week, but, it's still football. You feel me? So it's one of those things where, wear and tear, and we have a lot of young guys, and we just have to continue to trust Coach Frost and continue to trust all the coaches on the staff, and continue to not get bored with doing everything correct.
Anything else for Darrion? Great, thank you.